Hey everybody, welcome back to Dragonborn Industries and our updates on the 1K subscriber giveaway. This is the first of two updates from Battle Systems. So for those of you who haven't seen Battle Systems before, we have a link in the description below for you to check out that will take you to this website and show you their amazing terrain that we have been using for our Starfinder Actual play game as well as our Bloodpunk D&D game. Now, the terrain that they do is 28 to 32 millimeter, which is perfect for things like D&D, Warhammer, Star Wars Legion, and so many other miniature games out there, but actually comes from their original games, Core Space and Maladum. However, it's all very modular terrain. We've been using the Galactic core set and the Fantasy and the Frontiers core set, which comes with things like neoprene mats and interlocking terrain to create different rooms and shapes, which is absolutely incredible, along with some other stuff I've picked up along the way, things like the core space shuttles and stuff. But they are absolutely incredible, and we've been using them for a while, so I can absolutely recommend them. Maladum, which is another thing they've sent us, which we're still yet to do a few videos on, is their fantasy board game in which you and your band of adventurers head into ancient dungeons and abandoned settlements to seek their fortunes or your fortunes, and it's essentially based off their original game Core Space, which is what they've actually donated today, which is amazing. So the Core Space Firstborn starter set is what's been gifted by them, and Core Space is a science fiction miniature board game. It is designed to be you playing as a set of traders trying to make a living in a dangerous galaxy, all while being hunted by the Purge, a semi-sentient race of humanoid machines whose solo task is to harvest worlds. And obviously Firstborn is a secondary starter set that they brought out, which then has a new alien species that is designed to protect their asteroid home from the intruders with deadly force. So it's all about exploring new places. So let's have a look inside the box of what you are going to get. Now, bear in mind, I don't have one of these, so I've had loads of terrain and stuff from Battle Systems, and it's all been amazing, and I've not properly looked in this yet, so this is probably going to be a video of me swooning and then going off and buying one of these, because it's a heavy box, so I'm expecting there to be quite a bit. So, first of all, I always do love a bit of box art. That's absolutely incredible. We can see our crew on there. I don't know their names yet, and I don't know their story yet, but I do really like it. As always, we have our neoprene mat at the top here. Oh, what I really love, actually, I've just noticed that droid right there. That's why I love sci-fi games, things like that. Very, very cool character art and concepts. So, neoprene mat. This is obviously a dungeon crawling game, just like Maladum and many other games out there by other companies as well. But what I like is that Battle Systems have been putting neoprene mats in their sets rather than cardboard ones. So they are really going to last you a lot longer. They're usually 2 foot by 2 foot and they are gridded. So are not just good for this game, but also for games like Starfinder, D&D, anything that uses a grid system. And I've been using them again for a little while now, and I absolutely adore them. That, and for things like cameras when we're streaming, it's really good that you don't get all that much glare. I mean, bearing in mind that I've got a massive white light above me, that's pretty good. But the detail on this, and I'm assuming this is a ancient asteroid with the Firstborn's home now on it, that you are going to be exploring as your trader crew. But that's cool. I like the bits like here. You've got the difference between rock and then crafted structures like metal. So I really, really like that. Very, very cool. Very dystopian. All about that. So now I've got a new mat I need to pick up. Okay, so over here we've got our greebles and stuff to play. So this, I believe, tracks the threat level. So as you play the game and go along, it's the same as in Maladum and other things. And correct me if I'm wrong, Tom, from Battle Systems. But as you go along, the threat level increases, and that's the kind of enemies that start showing up and stuff. And you put your cards and tokens in here, and then you've got little pegs that will go along. These ones are all for your characters. So for your crew, as you play through, your character cards and your items and the classes that you choose will go into here. And again, pegs to denote things like your abilities and your health and stuff, which are all marked down there, which is really nice and solid. And I like having something like this as part of a game. It just feels nice to have your character board be something very physical and very tangible. Okay, we're going to have tokens. Okay, so we've got cards first. These are going to be our exploration cards / mission cards, protocols, threat eradication, this one says. So it's got patrol, inspection, wake protocols. I'm not going to open these up. That's going to be for you to do when you get this, if you win that competition. These I know very well. So these are the clips used to connect the walls of the terrain together. So I really like this system. Each of the walls has like a little groove in it. You put one side in one side in the other, and it connects them together. And having things like the 45 degrees, having T-junctions, having right angles, really means that you can set up all of this terrain in very different ways, which if you watch our Starfinder show, I really, really like to do. So even if you are just getting this for the minis and the terrain, it is so totally worth it. And if you don't win this, then go check it out on their website. Again, descriptions and links all below. So we've got those bits there. We obviously have a range ruler. There are 2 in there. That's going to be for finding range. There's no way of getting around that. You have some extra baggies, which is always useful when it comes to playing these games. I'm going to zoom the camera in just a little bit more, because again, I'm not sure what's going to be in this box, because again, I don't have one, but that is your item bag, I believe. So if it's the same as Maladum, you'll store all of your loot and everything into this bag, and as you explore, the loot changes and it goes onto the board into things like the crates and stuff, which are openable, and yeah, it's really, really fun, and you can draw from the bag and so on and so forth. You get some dry silica packets, more baggies. These are cool. These are designed to go in the bottom of the box so that you can separate your terrain out once you've unboxed everything. Just nice little tidies for your box. So let's go into this first. It says read this first, and that's probably because this is a setup guide and a beginner's tutorial of how to play. So overview, learning to play, yep. This will tell you about what core space is, about how this book works. Things like, this book is intended to be an introduction to core space and can be played by 1 to 2 players. We recommend that new players set up the starter scenario shown in this book rather than this one. And I'm assuming this is going to be a nice thick, yeah, that's going to be your campaign book, missions, in-depth rules. But this is going to give you a little bit about what's in there. So things like, again, you've got your card component references for your ship airlock board, your class boards, the firstborn, which I'm assuming are the enemies in this one. You've got your crew. So you can see up here the crew of the minis. We've got Wade, Cassie, Hopper, Balcor. Then there are game hunters, whatever they are, Keats and Caligorn. And then our firstborn, we've got 2 iconoclasts, 3 legions, 5 drones. They're cool drones. Oh, I want those for Starfinder. And 2 trueborns. Again, you've got your character boards. We've got, well, player crew dashboards, they're called. Event cards was the other one. Yeah, token pouch. We've got loads of dice pegs. Gives you a little bit on terrain assembly again in this book here as well. And then it goes on to character dashboards over here, as well as setting up. And each individual map in the campaigns and stuff will show you how to set that up on a map. So this gridded map that we got before, this one shows you your starting points. It shows you how the walls should be fitted, where the dotted lines are for things like doors and stuff. And there are keys for that within the setup of the games. And I'm going to see if one of those shows up on here. So we've got key components, searchable terrain. So these are what your item cards look like just over here. Range and line of sight. We've got round 1, which is over here. What I want to do, though, is see if in this particular book it tells you the keys for the walls. Just to say, right, this is a door, this is a window, this is a... No, so it's probably going to be in the other book just there. I could be wrong, and I'm sure Tom will message me and let me know. But it's got the basic rules for everything that you need to play the game and just get started within this first book here. And then we move on to the actual game rulebook, which is, one, really nice and well put together. I love things like this on the pages. But, again, artwork. I'm just a sucker for it. But this is going to have everything in there. It's going to have all your campaigns. So if you're playing a story of this, which you can play these games as a narrative and do each mission as part of a story, it's going to have things like the terrain, the glossary, the crew dashboards, key concepts, equipment. I mean, I could go through the list of everything that's on the contents, but I'm pretty sure you're going to understand that by now. So, I mean, like standalone terrain, which is something we use a lot of the battle systems for. The scattered terrain that you can put around, and then you've got the main terrain over here. And that's not how you have to set out the board. That's just one of the ways in which you can do it. It tells you how to put it together again there at the bottom. And it's just going to go through and give you an overview of everything, but in more detail than the Get Started one. So yeah, there's the hostility, and you can see there's the tracker for what particular monsters could come about. Yeah, this is just an in-depth set of rules, and then there should be, if I'm right, yeah, so we'll go through things like phases, like the NPC phase, attack phase, game hunters, missions, there we go. And here's the key that I was looking for. So when you're setting up your rules, when you're setting up your games, over on page 45, it'll have things like walls, doorways, wide doorways, oval entrances. So it tells you for each individual mission how to set up the board and how that scenario should play out. And then it's all down to the dice after that. But your actual key of how to read the maps, page 45, that's probably the most important thing I've found so far when setting up in Maladum games, let alone core-based games. And it's going to tell you how things like that then work, where to put your loot, where to put your items. And yeah, it's a very in-depth rulebook for a game that I think could make for a fantastic sci-fi campaign that feels like a TTRPG, not just a board game. I feel like it's going to be very, very narrative. However, a lot of you are probably looking at this and looking at the minis, which is what I believe is in here. And once more, minus that massive glare from my light above, some beautiful, beautiful artwork. I can see the terrain underneath. And, there it is. So, in this particular box, we've got our pegs for our character boards and for our abilities and health. We've got our dice, which in those rule books, it's going to tell you what each of those individual dice are for, and we've got more pegs going across there. Let's have a look at the beasties and the crew. I'm not going to remember their names, apart from, I think it was Hopper, who is our droid, which I adore that. If anybody's watching our Starfinder campaign, I'm already using, I think it was Mac from the Skylark crew as XP96, a droid they've just come across and now have recruited as a member of their team. So we have these amazing Dune-like worms, which is very fitting for where we are in our story. We've got our crew, which we've got this individual right here. And again, these would make fantastic minis for games like Starfinder or any other sci-fi TTRPGs that you might be playing. Or if you just like mini painting. Oh, I love having different alien races as well. Just something different than regular Humes. We've got our hunters, which again showed up in our rulebooks. And again, very much a fan of things like having the lights coming off the shoulders and the cameras. He's very colonial marine, I find. Then we've got our firstborns. So we've got things like this amazing sculpt here, which is nuts. I really like that. It's very dynamic. We've got what looks like either a mystic or some kind of leader. Again, I would have to play the game and read a bit more into it to know. Let's get that to focus up. Come on. There it is. We've got another one of, I think these were called, were they Trueborns or Calicites? God, I can't remember already. Tom, you have to send me one of these out for me. I want it all. Got another one just here. Because I'm getting too into it looking at them and not showing the camera. I like that reaching out pose. Ooh. I like the legs on them as well. They've got that backwards knee. Oh, I'm going to sneeze. You've got the like backwards knee on there as well, which I think it's very cool to have aliens with like those slightly different body parts to what we're used to. It's very Mass Effect as well. Very, very cool. And I love these drones. So these are all the same drones, but you get quite a few of them, which I think is very fun. Look at that. Very, very awesome. Very, very much want this for myself now. But it's going to you out there. And then let's see what's underneath this. Right there. Right, and then last but not least, we have our terrain. So it comes as a punch board, which is pretty standard for the battle system stuff if you've seen it before. You just have to punch each one of these out, and then here, these little side grooves just there, that's where they connect using those connectors. I'm not going to get this out of this packet. I'm going to let you do that, whoever wins, but you're going to have your scatter all down here, and you've got several pages of that, so it's really going to be useful to you when you're going to set up the games for Maladum, but also if you're using it in any of your other TTRPG stuff like D&D or Starfinder, Pathfinder, many of the other different games that we play. Once more, thank you to Battle Systems for sending out this incredible prize. I was blown away when Tom from Battle Systems said, hey, yeah, let's send out a Firstborn starter set, and I was like, okay, yeah, let's do it. And yeah, it's absolutely incredible. I'm very, very jealous. I very much want that for myself, but this is going to be for one of you guys out there. So please go check out the 1K subscriber video. It'll be in a link in the description below, but also on our homepage while the giveaway is running till the 30th of June. Thank you so much, Battle Systems. Please use that link below to check out things like Core Space Maladum and their terrain if you haven't already. May the dice gods be ever in your favor. Thank you.